Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. For you to understand the American perspective, I'll start at the top. We have a new president in our country. And if you look at events, especially of the last few weeks, that president and his administration is attempting to send a message to our friends and our partners and the allies. What you have seen with the declaration of the IRGC as a terrorist organization, what you saw with exposure of direct Iranian activities in Yemen at the UN is sending a signal to those partners and friends that our president's next decision point comes January 13th of next year. He has to make a determination as to whether or not our country will recertify the Iran nuclear deal. He's asked Congress for their advice and support. It is not yet forthcoming, but he has a decision to make. I don't know what that decision will be. And in some regards, that unpredictability is a good thing. I'll tell you from a military perspective. There's sometimes advantages that come with being somewhat unpredictable. What I can tell you is that his close circle of advisors will speak to him in a certain way. I'm proud to say that his Secretary of Defense, General James Mattis, his Chief of Staff, General John Kelly, his Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Joe Dunford, all work for me, and they're good men. And I can hear them now in the Situation Room saying to our President, Mr. President, we need to observe a conservation of enemies approach. Well, clearly I think it's fair to say up front, we just don't trust them. We do not, better said, trust the regime. We believe that they've already broken tenets of the nuclear deal, if not the actual wording, certainly the spirit and the intent of the deal. We believe they may well be proceeding with their nuclear program outside their own borders. Now, I'm no longer privileged to the top secret briefings, but there are reports and there's unclassified information out there that they may be dealing with another nation to prosper their program outside the view of the IAEA. And it's our concern that the Iranian meddling is only going to get worse. From about 2005 through 2015, they conducted their nefarious activities on a defense budget of about $16 billion. Since the end of 2015, oil revenues in the country have tripled. Now, unfortunately, the good people of Iran have not seen any of that windfall. It's being used, again, to create destructive behavior outside the borders of Iran. We believe that they're sponsoring regional unrest in the GCC, in Qatar and Bahrain and elsewhere, that they are truly actively engaged in Yemen, of course, Syria, Lebanon. Now, from our view, there are several clocks that are ticking in the Middle East. But there's another clock that's ticking. And I think that's a clock on the mullahs. I believe that the unrest is such, that the unhappiness is such, the things that the good ambassador cited, I think, are coming increasingly to light. But that clock resides in the hands of the Iranian people and in organizations like that headed by Madame Rajavi. Ladies and gentlemen, clearly the best option is change from within. I believe that the basis for that change exists today in Iran. I believe that the democratic opposition is powerful. It speaks to the right thing. It's compelling, and it's got momentum. And so, So, Madam Hijabi, once again, ma'am, I am so impressed with the organization that you put together, and the things you say are things that we all can identify with and would love to see happen in your home country. The one thing I would say, and I'm talking today to our friends and allies, is that if that glorious day should come, we cannot do what we did in 2009, and that is, as young people, fervent with the idea of democracy and freedom, die on the streets while we sit on our hands. If that day comes again, we have to be there for them and see the thing through. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just summarize by saying that if you accept that Iran is at the core of most of the turmoil that takes place today in the Middle East, that this organization and others like it and the people of the streets of Iran are the core solution. Change from within is clearly the best way to solve our problems. Thank you.